through, then I wonder if it is just a Renekton, the Cassante even for Xiaoxu, either, or I think there's loads of strong options available. It just depends on what they're really feeling like. There's the Xayah, so that could give Baolan a pretty confirmed and locked in Rakan on 3. It just depends on what OMG actually look for in this next rotation, and if they show their full bot lane matchup themselves. Again, loads of strong dive pairings available with the Kai'Sa, Nautilus as well. We spoke about the Rel, Alistar, plenty of things, very, very blindable. It just depends on how they're really feeling. Top side of the map as well, plenty of picks. Again, it's a bit of a soft overloaded draft here, as the Rel will go through, and then if Creme wants a mid lane pick here into Strive, he can just match it, and they can hold on to it. But the Rumble, we forgot, has of course been left up. Wasn't first picked because of the Kai'Sa, but certainly could get locked in here. And hey, I mean, the thing about the Rumble, you know how earlier on I mentioned Ornn, very powerful champion. There's very few champs that can really just blow summoner spells from like a screen and a half, 2 screens away. Rumble is also inside of that list. Being able to drop the equalizer on an AD carry's head and, you know, either chunk them out or force them to use a summoner spell is huge. So we'll see how often those trades come out for Shanji, but also just the sheer lane prowess into Xiaoxu, because again, now with this Rakan likely coming through, oh no, they go towards the Renekton. They're not willing to sack. I was going to say, you know, for RA, it's a decision between support matchup and the top side matchup. If they sack the top side matchup, eating 2 top side bans would have been absolutely terrible for Xiaoxu inside the lane matchup. So feels really good that he's able to get his hands on the Renekton. And now OMG, I feel like, have 2 very, very easy bans here in phase 2. One is Sejuani, so you remove the Renekton Sejuani pairing. Wow, RA do it themselves. Very interesting. And then the other one is naturally just Rakan, as we'll see Nocturne also taken off the board because that has started to rise in priority as a very scary duo. Turn off the lights and then get Pot Blossom.
Yeah, definitely can be incredibly difficult to deal with. Not to mention as well, Leyan loves to carry, doesn't he? He loves to be doing a bit of damage himself. Nidalee and that Nocturne both banned away from him, as it does seem like heavy jungle presence in the ban pool. 2 on either side. Sylas going to be taken away from Creme. I mean, it is a bit of a signature for Creme, but we've not exactly been seeing loads of it.
No, definitely haven't. That does kind of make me wonder whether RA are just looking at something like Maokai then in this next rotation with Sejuani gone. There's the Viego. There's not really too many junglers left up now at this point that are particularly prioritized. Could see a fallback from Arki onto the Wukong as well. I will mention that. RA, I feel like if you ban away Sylas, you're either looking at a big team fight ultimate from Leyan, which again, I'm imagining Maokai is the first one that comes to mind, or something else entirely, but they're going to give jungle to R5 because they really want this Rakan. And of course, they can hide the jungle pick until 5. They already know the support matchup. OMG, what will it be? There's a lot of magic damage, so physical from Creme wouldn't be too bad. If they end up on Maokai, I expect that Yone will come alongside it. And then there'll be a lot of dive and a lot of strong CC tools, which if RA get clipped by any, you imagine they will just get bursted down almost immediately.
Yeah, certainly will. And Maokai should probably be the final lock-in. Makes sense with the rest of this composition. Gives Creme a way to get involved on these fights. And just think, the roots land, Rel charges in, equalize it down, and then Yone on top of all of that. Not to mention Abel flying to the backline to finish someone off. That sounds pretty terrifying to me from the side of OMG. I'm loving this composition as RA. What do they want to go for Leyan? It is going to be a carry in the jungle in the form of that Kha'Zix in the end. So a bit more of a like strong meta comp from RA versus like a strong like
comfort comp,
signature comp. Yeah, like you've got meta in jungle and in bot lane, but then top and mid, it's all about like comfort. It's all about signature picks here for Creme and Shanji.
Yeah, Creme and Shanji specifically, right? Made their names on these picks, so looking forward to OMG piloting these ones, especially in the laning phase, and Arki again to be that facilitator for his solo laners, as he so often is. Abel and Ppgod should be fine down there in that 2v2. It can be a very volatile one, so I wouldn't be surprised if Arki pays it a very early visit, just to ensure that it stays a stable lane instead. For RA though, a little more, yeah, like you said, meta, but I'm kind of concerned for Leyan. I feel like if he doesn't get snowballing, that Kha'Zix into the champions that OMG are running could very quickly, you know, become useless, is what I'll say. So Leyan really needs to get some gold inside of his back pocket real early. I feel like he's got lanes definitely to play around and do that. but it's going to be about finding those windows where OMG can't punish in kind.
Let's see if they can find it. I'm looking towards that top lane, though. The Rumbles come out for Shanji. It's his classic. He's got 47 games on it and 31 wins. He's won almost twice as many games as he's lost on the pick. If he wins this game, that fact will be true. It'll be 32-16. Phenomenal on the pick, and I can't wait to see how it's going to look today against this Renekton. But remember, Renekton got ahead to start game number 1. You know, things flipped around after that point, but the 2v2 went the way of RA to start us off last time around, as Aki will be recalling in the top brush to make sure no shenanigans can come out from RA.
Yeah. Lane rush being put down here, or lane ward rather, for Aki. Incredibly passionate Gyos.
I mean, it's a combination of things. Apparently, it's OMG Day today.
Yeah.
In the arena. And on top of that, it's Balan's birthday. So, strong reasons to support your squads in the arena today for both of our teams. Let's see how this one's going to pan out. Quiet start, obviously. Let's talk pacing, though. With a Rumble and a Yone in the game, like, what do you expect from OMG when it comes to the early game?
Well, for top side of the map, I feel like Shanji should have a relatively easy time shoving out if he really wants to, but he has to be careful of a very early visit from Leyan. It looks like he's starting out on the Raptors. I'm not sure how much information, if at all, OMG have on that. So what we could see from Leyan is actually, like, you try and catch Shanji out as he tries to crash either the second or the third wave. And with the setup that Xiaoxu has, being the Renekton, very plausible. And if you can hold that wave in a freeze as well, it would be big. So OMG, Shanji needs to be careful of that, right? His objective should be to shove out early on and have a very strong 1v1 against Xiaoxu. And then Creme, just survive, right? I think it's kind of difficult to pilot out melee champions against Nico, but Yone is one of the few champions I've kind of seen be a little bit of an exception to that rule with the passive shielding from the W and so forth. You can actually trade out alright, but definitely level 1 to 3, a little bit difficult to navigate, so that's where it's really about for OMG. Early lanes need to just be protected by Aki, I think, realistically.
Alright, we'll look for Aki trying to hover these lanes. He started on the bottom side, Will. Path up towards that top lane now is just trading back and forth in the bottom lane, but fairly even so far between the two teams. And you can see Creme already getting chunked out in the lane as Leyan gonna move in towards the same quadrant that Aki is currently in. This could get a little bit dicey for our Maokai as Aki on his wolves, but that sapling is gonna give the game away. Blascone keeps him safe as Leyan, I think, will just have to back away from this one.
Yeah, so Leyan actually has priority in the top side. It seems like Shanji has yielded that one. Obviously, Prio here in the mid lane from Strive, kind of an expected outcome. Creme taking a bit of a beating, but staying within touching distance in terms of CS.
Oh,
Maybe Aki. Oh, Aki's found the window because Leyan's not actually looking at this.
they know that he's going to be trying to invade instead, so Strive forced to flash into the blue side jungle here. Xiaoxu in the meantime, forced to flash up top as well as Shanji almost gets a solo kill. And all that priority that Leyan had a minute ago is pretty much gone.
Yeah, exactly. So, feels quite bad for Leyan because he spent a lot of time up here basically accomplishing nothing, right? So, we'll get the scuttle, yes. Won't lose the smite to Aki. But at the end of the day, like you mentioned, so much tempo lost for him. Top side, Xiaoxu as well, losing out. I think he probably tried to trade on Shanji and Shanji goes into overheat and just kind of one-taps him. Aki again, doing a great job, just covering, making sure Leyan can't attack this. Because he knows that Shanji wants to reset relatively soon. And the teleport's even coming out from Creme defensively just in case. Happens.
I don't think that was a defensive TP. That was to try and force a play based on Aki flashing forwards. They're baiting this one. They don't know that Creme is here for the time being. Shanji flashes out. Xiaoxu so low on HP. Here's Creme, here's Shanji, but they can't quite reach them. The flash under the tower from Leyan. They all get away with their lives.
I'm not sure Shanji needed to flash out. I'm going to be honest. I think he was fine, but still very worried about the amount of burst that could have come his way. Didn't want to get stunned up either by Xiaoxu, but he was in overheat. If he's getting auto attacks off, that could have been huge. Picture in picture. Is it just the awkward trade moment here? Yeah, it is. Unfortunate moment for Xiaoxu. Just steps forward, gets hit by the harpoon, and then Shanji's also in overheat. So DPS shoots through the roof. He's able to get auto attacks off. Great
big damage.
Oh my god, Balan.
Abel has a lot of damage at this point in the game, has that flash available. If you get the isolated Q, it just annihilates people. Leyan in a bit of trouble. Assum's still healthy though with both summoners, so difficult to try and commit onto the Rakan because you might just get shredded by the Xayah.
Yep, definitely. Very, very difficult always. You never want to get caught up by the Feather Caller. Arky may be forced to give up this little Rift Scalar, but at the end of the day, it's not really a big deal. Leyan is still level 3, 15 minutes in. That Skull's going to push him to 4, but he's still a little bit behind the curve, to say the least, on where you want to be on a Kha'Zix. Typically, in competitive play, you very rarely see Kha'Zix look for really early action. It's just about trying to hit that level 6, get the first evolution. For many patches, it was always like the W evolve to be as oppressive as possible in terms of finding those slows, but now we're back to the claws, and that does really amp your ability to clear out early camps. Speaking of clearing very early on, Kha'Zix, especially when he hits 6, very strong Dragon Taker, but right now, Leyan just thinks he's got the window because he anticipates Arky will be on the top side. And will likely just find it as, there you go, Shanji drops the R on the wave just to make sure he gets a free reset.
Yeah, it's going to be difficult to push it to town. Look at the CS advantage. It's like 20 CS up for Shanji in the top side, just dropping his ult onto the wave to make sure, like you say, he can get that reset off. And Xiaoxu will even the CS up somewhat, but won't have chance to get a wave underneath the tower here. Zaki now looking for an invade, but Xiaoxu has some free time because of the fact that Shanji went for a reset. Go for the honey fruit. Doesn't know that Aki's currently invading, so won't be able to stop anything happening. And these chickens are forfeit.
Yeah, Aki will take those away. Ari weren't really too bothered about covering the cross map counter jungle, and at the end of the day, it's just one camp. Leyan eating the dragon, getting the additional camp as well. Now caught back up, it feels like, into the game at level 5. And more likely still hit level 6 on a decent timer. And that dragon, really losing one jungle camp at this stage in the game, not the end of the world. So RA find themselves an early objective, which definitely feels good for how this composition wants to work. And now it's really about that first Herald spawn up, right? In a little bit under a minute's time, there's a Rumble on the top side of the map. There's a Renekton. So you know that it's going to be bloody.
Yeah, it absolutely is. You're seeing the value of Ninja Tabbies in that trade there. We just witnessed Xiaoxu dive in, get his full combo off onto Shanji, and Shanji took barely any damage. And the thing is, like, obviously with specifically Renekton, because the W is like auto attack based, the Ninja Tabbies gets extra value there, but even still, the damage reduction is just mind blowing.
Yeah, there was also, just the dash out. There was also that change. I think it was actually more of a bug fix where there was a lot of like auto attack empowering abilities which weren't actually being blocked by the passive of Ninja Tabbies for a long time. So I actually think Ninja Tabbies just has even more value into Renekton in that regard, if that's an interaction that was fixed as Abel dodges out on the jump. And we'll just trade back in kind. Yeah,
based on the damage that Xiaoxu did, I'm pretty sure it was fixed. Yeah. There's no way that's unfixed, because that would be insane. Now, Creme has his full kit available, should have a bit of an easier time during the rest of this laning phases. Aki just going to start the Herald off. You know, Creme online with the ultimate available at this point. Shanji is very much in charge of that top lane. So Leyan looks towards the bottom side of the map instead to try and get stuff done. Doesn't actually have any lethality on the board just yet, only those 2 longswords. So not at the strongest point, but he is on that level 6. So perhaps the threat of a dive here from the bottom side with Abel and Ppgod here, but it does feel quite difficult to pull off.
Yeah, it certainly is. I just feel like just because Ppgod and Abel have all summoner spells plus their ultimates, like diving that and getting out of your life is a really big ask. It won't be taken up by R8. Like you said, Arky got the Herald. And again, to be fair, OMG didn't really lose anything, so gold generation available relatively soon. Shanji, this is going to be a real nice trade.
This might be an all-in, honestly. Still has his Ignite available. That's Dominus burn.
Yeah. Just
from waiting in the brush. And Shanji really bullying this matchup at this point. Xiaoxu going to use the rest of his Dominus to push this wave. So at least he'll have that. That's going to be the first wave of the game where he's actually had the push.
Yeah. Outside of the first couple of waves. And even then, Shanji yielded that. More than Xiaoxu really taking it. will find himself that window if he wanted to reset. Not going to do it this time out. But again, I think really the power of the champion is not seen yet. It's going to be this next dragon, I think. Shanji's going to need to find a window to roam down. You have to remember he's running the ignite, not the teleport. So all about the lane prowess and the pressure you can put down in the 1v1. We'll have to find that opportunity to get down here and actually contribute for OMG.
I've got to say, this has been a really boring game, Jamada. We're 10 minutes in and nothing has happened.
10 minutes, no deaths, barely anyone has even used summoner spells. Right, we saw like a flash out of Shanji in the 2v2 earlier on. That was like kind of it.
That was kind of exciting.
Yeah.
There was a lot of flashes there, but no follow-up to it. Stack Chev online now, though, and bit of damage onto Stripe. To be fair, for OMG, like, you know, playoffs is on the line here. You, of course, are going to take this series seriously, and I'm not suggesting that I think teams should just run at each other. All I'm saying is I like it when teams do just run at each other. You know, I enjoyed that. I enjoyed the second game of the second series today, where it was just people running at each other, and it was great. I loved every second of it.
Do agree.
But Drake up in just over 10 seconds. Perhaps an opportunity to run at each other.
I've got it, Joe. Let's just press the button where the teams run at each other. Right? Remember, as casters, we have control of the game. We actually dictate what happens. So here's how it's going to go down. RA are going to start to dragon up, as you can already see. Ppgod and Arky's going to press his Arky from downtown. Right now, yeah.
There it is.
Then Creme's going to find like a 3-man ult.
Oh, he's just going to hit one time. Xiaoxu TP'd in.
Yeah.
So OMG just sack this and let Shanji farm up. He's going to get so much solo time on that tower. Traded for second Drake for RA. So that's a lot of waves being sacrificed here by Xiaoxu. 3 plates for Shanji. He's getting really snowballed. And on top of this, Abel gets a Herald on the bottom side as well. This is brutal. Now Baolan's caught in the jungle. Actually gets punted over the wall by Aki.
Okay.
Oh, my days.
All right, not bad.
Wow.
I mean, this... Oh, wow.
Featherstone going to be used. Hang on. Creme's in trouble, though. Needs to use that Fate Seal to try and get himself out. He's still alive, but now quickness from Baolan to finish the kill. First blood finally comes on through. Azaki with a 3-man bramble smash. OMG get out with their lives, but 4 plates taken in the bottom side.
4 plays taken in the bottom side. I think 3 taken in that 1 play from Shanji. So even though they pulled that first blood through, so much gold just went into Abel and into Shanji, the 2 members that you probably want having the gold the most. Yone can sometimes operate without it. So that feels pretty damn good for OMG. And it should push them into a position where that next Herald in 2 minutes will be a good opportunity for them to fight, but I guess an opportunity to fight right now.
Assum forced to flash, forced to cleanse, dived on by Abel. The health bar's low, but the feather pullback is good. Abel, blast cone is out of range, and he goes down. RA turn it on its head. Great pullback by Assum, and a phenomenal 2v2.
Yeah, I mean, turnaround is good. I think the idea here from OMG is because Assum is without ultimate that they can probably win the 2v2, especially Baolan as well, not having ultimate. So that was 2 ultimates not available to RA, and they still won out. So huge win for RA. OMG just fall short on the execution. I think not really able to get on top of 1 target like they would have liked to in the case of Abel. As now Xiaoxu.
Oh my days.
Oh.
That damage is disgusting. He has Ignite available as well, and he uses it. The roots are not quite going to find Xiaoxu. Pixels away as Leyan tries to move in. I don't think that's a fight you can take. No isolation damage available. Shanji will be able to just shove another wave in here. Leyan's moving over, as is Strive. Shanji, you got to get out of there, buddy. As is Flash available. Will he get a chance to use it? They don't even throw abilities.
Nope.
He's fine.
Don't want to. Let's look at this replay. Let's see why this goes wrong for OMG and what RA actually do. W even gets interrupted. Good flashing. Cleanse maybe a bit early, I guess, from Assum. Didn't even take off the Ignite from what I can see on the particles, but at the end of the day, Abel just isn't really capable of putting in the DPS into Assum like he probably would have preferred to have here. As we come out of the replay, I think this tower was taken during the replay, so more gold goes into Abel's back pocket. RA looking to just cross-map in kind. Shanji doesn't have the ultimate, so he can't clear the way from range, but RA are actually a little bit more interested in this Herald, so they'll take a step back from that tower. Creme use the Spirit snap back.
And now we get a big moment, right? Game number 1, OMG aced RA at the 15-minute Herald. We're at that point in the game. Once again, Ppgod Hex Flash into the play. This Herald started off by OMG. But RA want to fight for this one. Xiaoxu, no TP. This is 4v5 if RA commit to this. And I think they've suddenly realized this is not actually a play that they can win. They look towards the mid lane instead.
I think with the teleport being up so soon, what they were kind of hoping for and gambling for, that OMG wouldn't start this Herald instantly. Unfortunately, for them, they do. If they could have had him involved in the fight, it would have been definitely favorable. But now, Herald's going into the top lane, and what we might see Arky do, I was wondering if OMG would actually try and kind of corner off RA from making it to the top side. I think this Herald is still going to charge into the tier 2, potentially, so it should still yield out to be OMG favored, no matter what. OMG still find themselves on the good end.
It still feels like a wacky Herald, though, doesn't it? Like, there's no way you're committing to trying to take the tier 2 immediately with the Herald. Like, you could always drop the tier 2, you could always drop the Herald up top later on if you want to try and commit to the tier 2, but I feel like maybe just slamming it for mid lane later to try and take the tier 1 could be more valuable.
Yeah, I think there are definitely loads of options. OMG just wanted to cross map immediately because they got the Herald. They didn't want to lose the tower for it, I guess, so happier to trade out for the tower that they lose for a tower, plus obviously the Herald that they get using it. So, very strange, I do agree.
That's what I mean, though. They definitely would get the tier 1 anyway without the Herald, so I don't know. Either way, Drake started off here, RA. This would be Soul Point if they can get it, and an Infernal Soul, no less. But Creme is behind enemy lines here. Is Strive trying to spot the players out. Xiaoxu doesn't quite face check as the roots come on through, and here we go, Creme. Bit of damage there, Equalizer across the team, but Strive! Pop Blossom is massive. Abel kicked out of the fight, but Strive goes down, and actually it's OMG winning out for the time being. Assum is alone and taken down. Nobody falls for OMG just yet. As Creme being attacked by Xiaoxu, but he's got reinforcements from the team. I don't know how OMG survived that, but they got the Drake as well.
I'll tell you how. It was OMG's re-engage, and Shanji was just in overheat, melting everyone inside of the gravity well. It was huge from the side of OMG support and top laner. RA's initial engage was honestly really solid, but again, the follow-up wasn't really that good because it was pretty much stonewalled entirely by Ppgod.
Absolutely insane stuff from OMG. Denying Soul Point here. And I was so focused on Creme, I wasn't ready for Strife. The Pop Blossom at the start is phenomenal.
Yeah, great angle, great flank, finds 3. Baolan, however, has a lot of his combo interrupted here by Ppgod, and Shanji's in overheat, melting 3 very squishy members. That's why it gets turned around on.
Yeah.
Really, really well played. Again, from Ppgod, looking to secure a MVP. We said, and kind of gave him a shout out in game 1. It's Arky that one out this time. Maybe he finds it in game number 2 for another moment like that. And they secured the dragon.
So good.
Very so far so good, yeah.
I could believe it. I could definitely believe it if he can keep this Rel performance up. You've got Rakan versus tanky Rakan here on the Rift. We'll see who's going to win it out. Ppgod looking good so far. There's Creme and Xiaoxu. That was what, 1 HP?
Yeah.
Aki's walked across the ward, so Xiaoxu will know he's coming. Should be able to slice and dice his way out of dodge. But my goodness, I guess we've got to the point where Creme has come online, eh?
Yeah, Gale Force online. I think very common build at the moment is Gale Force into BT from a lot of Yones. Shield Bow second sometimes if you need like the defensive stats of having that additional shield. So we'll see where Creme lands, but Shield Bow typically we've seen kind of just fall off as an AD item at the minute. Not super popular unless the game really demands it, but for Creme could definitely be a very solid option. But you can already see, as we have demonstrated to us, how strong he already is on a side lane, and if he can do that to Xiaoxu, imagine what you can do to basically anyone else on RA, right? Very, very scary point in the game. And speaking of scary points in the game, Abel just hit 2 items as well, and that's just 2.
Yeah.
Kind of just means if he's got, you know, a little bit of isolated time to use the killer instinct to find Assum or even Strive to a point, he will very close to one-shot them.
Yeah, the speed at which he can finish a health bar is kind of disgusting. You got to land those W's first, and in fact, they're even going to give him that bonus blue buff. Don't need it on the mid laner because Creme doesn't have mana. So Abel, in case the CDR wasn't enough off of the resets, oh my days, it's already doing so much damage.
It's
now with blue buff, he could just mash these out.
The Observer knows as well, like he's hovering over it. Speaking of 1v1s, Creme's going to disengage. Doesn't want anything to do with Xiaoxu. Yeah, like Dominus and having to deal with 2 empowered abilities back to back is really scary. Probably wait for it to time out. Maybe just look to clear the wave or re-engage if he sees Xiaoxu overstep. But no Dominus now, no Fate Sealed either. Could just be a bit of a handshake of the waves for a little while now with that in mind.
It certainly could be. Drake coming up in a minute though, and I feel like that is what RA are looking towards, right? They've already got 2 from earlier on in the game. But OMG, getting an Infernal Drake as their first Drake, just think of the scenario where you've got an AP Kai'Sa that's already chunking like that, did a quarter of Assum's health there with a W. Ooh, imagine if they get an Infernal Soul. Hang on, Bowland, quickness to engage onto the enemy team here. Abel right into the Pop Blossom. The shield keeps him alive, but he will go down in the end. But at what cost? 2 kills for the Maokai as Assum feathers to keep his team alive. It's 2 for 1.
Yeah, I mean, great flank, great pinster from RA, but again, OMG are just able to answer out so well. The equalizer from Shanji was massive, and Ppgod back to back with these re-engages. Huge in stopping RA in their advance, and RA, despite the creativity of that engage, lose out on this tier 1 now, and the Dragon could also be forfeit as well, right? No teleport from Strive, there's teleport on Xiaoxu. Highlight the re-engage with Shanji and Ppgod. Great from Bowland as well to lock up Abel. Abel, the idea here, Killer Instinct, and then try and flash out of the Pop Blossom, but I think he's just chain CC'd 100 to 0. But Ppgod with this re-engage and that equalizer just melts through the health bars of RA again.
Yeah, so it turns out it's not just that Rumble's really strong, Rel Rumble is really strong. This is a combo I'm going to be looking out for over the next couple of months, because I feel like this is going to be something that everyone around the world is going to have to watch out. I mean, the damage is too much.
And don't forget, right, like Rumble Equalizer slows. I don't think the Rel, I'm not sure if the Rel armor actually necessarily lowers your health bar, but obviously it's like it pulls you back in, kind of akin to like Aatrox W, right?
Yeah. So
it's kind of an annoyance. You really can't get out unless you flash. It feels like that Dragon should go down wholeheartedly to OMG. What can RA get done in kind, if anything? That tier 1, I suppose, will be the answer, but this OMG side getting more percentage stats in the damage department just feels like a very oppressive Dragon out of any that OMG could have landed on. So RA now continue to have to just yield, it feels like, as the gold lead is starting to also kind of grow in OMG's favor as well.
Yeah, I mean, 2 Infernal Drakes, that's 10% attack damage and ability power, which, especially on a champion like Kai'Sa, you kind of get the double benefit, right? Because you build both. Yeah. You're still doing a lot of AD even on this day. What just happened with that Pop Blossom? It was vertical, and Abel goes down. Leyan somehow walks away. No, burnt by Shanji in the end, and now an equalizer across the team. 1 for 1, jungler for AD carry. Shanji wants a little bit more. Flashes to get the slow down. As in goes Creme, the Magnet Storm on top of everything. And they're just into the meat grinder, aren't they? This is the meat grinder composition, except it's also a barbecue and grill with the flame spitter in there. Xiaoxu does turn one around, but taken out in the end. My goodness, it's an all-in-one heated blender. The soup maker.
That was really disgusting on the back end. OMG were thinking about Baron here, but they'll just take the reset. And need I really say, Ppgod again. Another, this time, great engage. Abel, that's just really unlucky timing, isn't it? Abel just goes in. Wasn't paying attention to the minions, unfortunately. And like you said, Leyan gets burned out to a demonic embrace of Shanji. Equalizer then comes in, forces the Ulma of Assum. And you'd think at this point that maybe OMG would consider turning around, right, with feathers on the floor, but they don't. They go forward. Creme finds 2, and then this engage on top of it. Huge from Ppgod to lock in more kills. Xiaoxu with the healing, though, does actually manage to trade out for at least 1 kill here. But at the end of the day, it's still a slaughter where Ppgod more accurately really just gave his life to ensure that they could kill off Xiaoxu in the back end.
Yeah, phenomenal stuff. And we are getting to the point now where these fights feel very difficult for RA. And you can't just focus on Abel. Like we've seen, Abel has died at the start of basically every fight so far this game. But he's not the real threat. It's Shanji up in the top side who is melting people. And then Creme on a flank to turn the fight around alongside Ppgod. The CC chain is terrifying. And actually, they're going to wait a second. He's found Leyan. Leyan just get 1v1'd by Creme here. Oh, a bold equalizer. Doesn't quite find his mark. But Leyan bullied away. That opens up Baron potentially. Assum gets caught by the W of Kai'Sa. Xiaoxu in the back, but he's totally alone on the play. Goredrinker keeps him alive, as does a stopwatch. But Baron is being focused down here by OMG. Objective taken. Strive with a 3-man Pop Blossom. The rest of the team diving on in, but they don't have the damage in this Bowland to fall. Assum has to carry, and he knows it. Charging forwards onto Aki, but here comes Creme. The blades are true. Ppgod with a shield. How are they surviving this? He only gets one. There's Creme now in a 2v1 himself, but he's got lifesteal, and he dashes away. In goes Shanji once again. What is this fight? Aki finishes another one, and Leyan, no flash and nothing left. The Sunfire Cape will finish it off.
What an insane team fight from both ends, really. RA really pushing the envelope 4 versus 5 for so long with Leyan forced out. But OMG with the numbers advantage, the re-engage, again, from Ppgod, massive. Xiaoxu did his best as well to buy space inside of the pit, but no one from RA could follow up for so long. He was basically just operating as a lone wolf. RA tried to force, again, this time out, actually onto Shanji alongside Assum, but Assum cannot safely get in range. Then Xiaoxu gets turned around on, but this healing, massive Goredrinker, Q-empowered healing as well. Goes into the stopwatch, has to dash back. The Baron goes over to OMG, and then Strive finds a 3-man ultimate that just can't really find any damage follow-up, right? I think that's the big problem here, which then leads into Assum actually having a window to open up here onto all the members of OMG that end up in front of him, able to eventually cast a Featherstorm, but good window from Creme, then almost takes out Leyan, flash away. I was almost expecting him to dash back it, to be honest with you, with that Q3. Doesn't quite do it this time out, and then Aki comes in and finishes off Strive, but man, what a team fight from both sides. RA, unfortunately, despite finding that big ultimate from Strive, not able to follow up on it, and that was really the determining factor in whether or not RA could have a successful fight. And with that, OMG with Baron in pocket will look to strip away all of the towers that they can and try and crack open the base with 60 seconds left.
60 seconds off the Baron, trying to pressure 2 lanes. Xiaoxu cutting off the minion wave. Dominus comes on through, but they're just going to engage onto Bowland instead. Rakan is useless if he's CC'd. The damage chain is there from Abel, but they can't quite finish off the bird. Ppgod looking for a dive. Xiaoxu has been split apart, and the 2 solo laners of OMG finish him off. While the rest of the team, hang on, Leyan, that was a third of his health, and in goes Abel to finish the job as well. And well, I mean, what else can you do when Leyan is getting absolutely rinsed by Abel like that? I feel like this might just be game minions underneath the bottom tower as well, as that'll be 2 inhibs taken, 28 minutes on the clock, and Abel surviving a fight for once. And that should lead them to a victory. The W flies straight between the goalposts. But with the second inhib going down, it's a good knock up here, and they've dived a little deep, but Stripe goes down, and Abel easily finishes 2 more off, 18-7. And OMG, I mean, that Mojo fight at the Baron was gorgeous. And the last one, they make it look easy. Hands diff across the board here as RA are slaughtered. And OMG will guarantee themselves a top 6 position in the LPL.
Excellent way to lock yourself into top 6, and with one more series tomorrow, they can place themselves the highest that they've been in the regular season for a very,